I am Susannah Lorenzo from Puentes, Holistic Bridges. And before I start reading, I would like to say that I am really thankful for all the people who have left a comment on the videos with the book Women Who Run with the Wolves. I must admit, it's been really a while without uploading content here. I was so focused on my main channel, but then I realized, looking at statistics, that even though this is one of my small channels with less followers than the main channel, it's the channel that has been more active this year. So thank you for encouraging me. Thank you for appreciating my work. And if you would like to know more about me, or you would like to share your blessings with me so that I can keep uploading more chapters or more readings of this book, please visit the description of the video. The chapters are not very long because this is not a book to be read or heard or listened to like automatically. We need to pay attention, to rest, to pause, to reflect, to meditate, and leave some time to continue with the next pages. It's a profound message for the wild woman, the divine feminine inside you. So I hope you enjoy the reading. We all begin as a bundle of bones lost somewhere in a desert, a dismantled skeleton that lies under the sand. It is our work to recover the parts. It is a painstaking process best done when the shadows are just right, for it takes much looking. La loba indicates what we are to look for, the indestructible life force, the bones. The work of La Loba can be thought of as representing un cuento milagro, a miracle story. It shows us what can go right for the soul. It is a resurrection story about the underworld connection to wild woman. It promises that if we will sing the song, we can call up the psychic remains of the wild soul and sink her into a vital shape again. La Loba sings over the bones she has gathered. To sing means to use the soul voice. It means to say on the breath the truth of one's power and one's need, to breathe soul over the thing that is ailing or in need of restoration. This is done by descending into the deepest mood of great love and feeling, till one's desires for relationship with the wildish self overflows. Then to speak one's souls from the frame of mind. That is singing over the bones. We cannot make the mistake of attempting to elicit this great feeling of love from a lover, for this women's labor of finding and singing the creation hymn is a solitary work, a work carried out in the desert and the psyche. Let us consider La Loba herself. In the symbolic lexicon of the psyche, the symbol of the old woman is one of the most widespread archetypal personifications in the world. Others are the great mother and father, the divine child, the trickster, the sorceress, the maiden and youth, the heroine warrior, and the fooless. Yet a figure like La Loba can be considered vastly different in essence and effect, for she is symbolic of the feeder route to an entire instinctual system. In the Southwest, the archetype of the old woman can also be apprehended as old la que sabe, the one who knows. I first came to understand la que sabe when I lived in the Sangre de Cristo Mountains in New Mexico, under the heart of Lobo Peak. An old witch from Ranchos told me that la que sabe knew everything about women, that la que sabe had created women from a wrinkle on the sole of her divine foot. This is why women are knowing creatures. They are made, in essence, of the skin of the soul, which feels everything. This idea that the skin of the foot is sentient had the ring of a truth, for an acculturated Quiché tribeswoman once told me that she'd worn her first pair of shoes when she was 20 years old, and was still not used to walking con los ojos vendados, with blindfolds on her feet. The wild essence that inhabits nature has been called by many names and crisscrosses all nations down through the centuries. These are some of the old names for her. The Mother of Days is the Mother Creator God of all beings and doings, including the sky and earth. Mother Nyx has dominion over all things from the mud and dark. Durga controls the skies and winds and the thoughts of humans from which all reality spreads. Coatlicue gives birth to the infant universe, which is rascally and hard to control, but like a wolf mother, she bites her child's ear to contain it. Hecate, the old seer who knows her people and has about her the smell of humus and the breath of God. And there are many, many more. These are the images of what and who lives under the hill, far off in the desert, out in the deep. By whatever name, the force personified by La Loba records the personal past and the ancient past, for she has survived generation after generation and is old beyond time. She is an activist of feminine intention. She preserves female tradition. Her whiskers sense the future. She has the far-seeing milky eye of the old crone. She lives backward and forward in time simultaneously, correcting for one side by dancing with the other. The old one, the one who knows, is within us. She thrives in the deepest soul psyche of women, the ancient and vital wild self. Her home is that place in time where the spirit of women and the spirit of wolf meet, the place where mind and instincts mingle, where a woman's deep life funds her mundane life. It is the point where the eye and the doe kiss, the place where in all spirit women run with the wolves. This old woman stands between the worlds of rationality and mythos. She is the knuckle bone on which these two worlds turn. This land between the worlds is that inexplicable place we all recognize once we experience it, but is in them down, except when we use poetry, music, dance, or a story. There is a speculation that the immune system of the body is rooted in this mysterious psychic land, and also the mystical, as well as the archetypal images and urges, including our God hunger, our yearning for the mysteries, and all the sacred instincts as well as those which are mundane. Some would say the records of humankind, the root of light, the coil of dark, are also here. It is not a void, but rather the place of the mist beings, where things are and also are not yet, where shadows have substance and substance is sheer. One thing about this land is certain: it is old, older than the oceans. It has no age, it is ageless. The wild woman archetype funds this layer, emanating from the instinctual psyche. Although she can take on many guises in our dreams and creative experiences, she is not from the layer of the mother, the maiden, the medial woman, and she is not the inner child. She is not the queen, the Amazon, the lover, the seer. She is just what she is. Call her la que sabe, the one who knows. Call her wild woman. Call her la loba. Call her by her high names or by her low names. Call her by her newer names or her ancient ones. She remains just what she is. Wild woman as an archetype is an inimitable and ineffable force which carries a bounty of ideas, images, and particularities for humankind. Archetype exists everywhere, and yet is not seeable in the usual sense. What can be seen of it in the dark cannot necessarily be seen in daylight. We find lingering evidence of archetype in the images and symbols found in stories, literature, poetry, painting, and religion. It would appear that its glow, its voice, and its fragrance are meant to cause us to be raised up from contemplating the sheet on our tails to occasionally traveling in the company of the stars. At La Loba's place, the physical body is, as poet Tony Moffitt writes, a luminous animal, and the body's immune system seems, via anecdotal reports, to be strengthened or weakened by conscious thought. At La Loba's place, the spirits manifest as personages, and La Voz Mitológica, the mythological voice of the deep psyche, speaks as poet and oracle. Things of psychic value once dead can be revived. Also, the basic material of all stories existing in the world ever began with someone's experience here in this inexplicable psychic land, and someone's attempt to relate what occurred to them here. There are various names for these locus betwixt the worlds. Jung called it variously the collective unconscious, the objective psyche, and the psychoid unconscious, referring to a more ineffable layer of the former. He thought of the latter as a place where the biological and psychological worlds share headwaters, where biology and psychology might mingle with and influence one another. Throughout human memory, this place, call it node, call it home of the mist beings, the crack between the worlds, is a place where visitations, miracles, imaginations, inspirations, and healings of all natures occur. Though this site transmits great psychic wealth, it must be approached with preparation, for one may be tempted to joyously drown in the rapture of one's times there. Consensual reality may seem less exciting by comparison. In this sense, these deeper layers of psyche can become a rapture trap from which people return unsteady, with wobbly ideas and airy presentiments. That is not how it is meant to be. How one is meant to return is wholly washed or dipped in a revivifying and informing water, something which impresses upon our flesh the odor of the sacred. Each woman has potential access to Rio Abajo Rio, this river beneath the river. She arrives there through deep meditation, dance, writing, painting, prayer-making, singing, drumming, active imagination, or any activity which requires an intense, altered consciousness. A woman arrives in the world between worlds through yearning and by seeking something she can see just out of the corner of her eye. She arrives there by deeply creative acts, through intentional solitude and by practice of any of the arts. And even with these well-crafted practices, much of what occurs in this ineffable world remains forever mysterious to us, for it breaks physical laws and rational laws as we know them. The care with which this psychic state must be entered is recorded in a small but powerful story of 4 rabbis who yearn to see the most sacred will of Ezekiel. We will be sharing the story of the 4 rabbis on the next video. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your kindness. Stay blessed.